All right. Well, welcome everybody for our featured Teacher of the Month inside of the Awareness Academy. And I'm super excited that today we have, a friend and a colleague, Sharron Ragan, whom I've known, I don't know, it's got to be 15 some odd years when I was teaching some classes at the little Christian church in Sandy Springs. And you and a dear friend of ours that passed away. The two of you, I think, came and joined and came to one of our classes. I cannot remember his name.
It was Preston.
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 Oh my gosh, sweet, sweet
Yeah.
Preston. What a hoot. He was just such a character and such an incredible artist as well. And he came for a long time to my Course in Miracles classes, and it was really
Hmm.
to have him there. But anyways, I've known Sharon a long time, and I was just saying to her how much I admire her because this is a woman who does things that she's passionate about. And lucky for us, she's passionate about things that help us evolve, that help us discover more the truth of who we are. And one of Sharon's many talents includes being an artist. And I was so blessed to have had you come to my lake house when I was in Georgia, and
Yeah.
you did a private retreat. I think that we might have had 12, 13 of us there, and you took
Hmm.
us through an entire weekend of getting in touch with our inner artist, and we painted all of everybody had the opportunity to paint a lot, and I painted some things that I had no idea I could paint, but Sharon has a way of drawing that. But Sharon has a unique background because she has a very corporate background. So she understands business from having been in the corporate world in one of the top companies in the world. And then she leaves corporate America. And I think you might have retired. And then all of a sudden, she's got another business. But this business that she started is spiritually based. And it is based on her passion of helping people not only get in touch with their inner artist, but also with our inner truth, our spiritual side, the essence of who we are. So, Sharon, I'm so excited that you were willing to come and join us today because your store in Atlanta, Marietta, Georgia, is just a beautiful place. And one of the things that you do is not only lots of classes, and I've taught there and held some circles there that we did, but you also are an expert in crystals and stones and all kinds of things. And today I wanted you to help us understand a little bit more about uh, crystals and stones and how they can help us on our spiritual journey. So I've been talking a lot. Sharon, come and say hello to this beautiful community that we're building over here at the Awareness Academy.
Well, it's great to be here and thank you for that nice introduction. Um, yes, I did spend a lot of time in the corporate world. And then during that time, it was about 7 or 8 years before I decided to retire. I had my full spiritual awakening. I think I'd always had it. I just wasn't fully connected to it. So after I left, and then several years later, I decided to open a retail business. And prior to that, I was doing a lot of spiritual work, working with people. And when I opened the retail business, which I knew nothing about, but Spirit was guiding me and saying, no, there needs to be a spiritual business in the area that I was in because there wasn't one. And so I just sort of jumped in and said, okay, fine, Spirit, if you want me to do a business, then you have to bring it to me, which is really what happened. So as I got more involved, I realized that I began to really connect with all of the products that we sold. As I would seek new products and go to the shows and meet with vendors, and I really got into learning deeply about how the products could affect us spiritually. And a lot of this did come from, like what you said earlier when we did the retreat, the painting retreat. I'm a firm believer that your intuition really starts with your creativity. Because if you shut down your creativity, you shut down your intuition.
Mm,
And if you shut down your intuition, you shut down your creativity. So I use that sort of as a platform to kind of spring from in terms of understanding that art was just one more tool that helped people begin to express themselves. And as I really began to learn more about all the tools that we were selling, I also realized that we were not doing our job if we didn't teach people how to use these products.
mm,
And of course, during the pandemic, really brought people out. And of course, their first introduction for many of them into a spiritual world was stones and crystals. And I was really surprised by that but I realized that it was a simple tool that exists everywhere. You don't necessarily have to buy the pretty, shiny, sparkly ones. Just picking up rocks as a kid um, kind of gave people a connection. And some people loved crystals and rocks when they were kids. And as some people got older, they loved them as decor products.
mhm,
And so, but then they started to see that they were what I consider to be very magical. So at the shop, we decided that we really needed to educate people on each of the products as they shop with us. So we have a lot of material, handouts, different, I would say maybe intention guides that help people determine how do you use crystals, how do you use herbs, how do you use sage, all types of products. In fact, we're rolling out a lot more descriptions in our shop in the next few weeks because we just finally opened an online shop. It'll be ready probably in 2 weeks, and then we're going to really get into educating people. So what I'd like to do is I'll start with a few things, but if there's any questions, I'll be happy to, if there's something that comes up while I'm talking, please feel free to ask. But first and foremost is most people don't realize that stones and crystals are actually minerals. They're minerals in the earth. And of course, they've been formed over millions of years, but that is part of why our bodies resonate with stones and crystals. And stones and crystals are used in all kinds of things. They're used in watches. You use diamonds and diamond drills. Ruby is used in a lot of laser technology. Gold was used initially in computers. You've got silver is used for many things. In fact, you can make colloidal silver from silver. It's a natural antibiotic. So there's a reason why our spirits are connected to these products. And somewhere deep inside of us, we might have a need for that. If you even think about how they're used in medicines, you've got lithium, you've got lepidolite, but lepidolite has lithium in it. And lithium is used in pharmaceuticals. There's also lithium water. Um, you've got things like who would know that Pepto-Bismol is made from a mineral which is called bismuth, which is actually forms into a stone. So there's a lot of meaning for stones and crystals way beyond the just walking in the store and going, I feel attracted to stones and crystals. It's a much deeper reason why people are attracted to them. And I've learned over the years that some people say they feel the connection and some say they don't. But I believe that at times it's really where you are in your life. Because there's a lot of stones that I don't feel a connection with every stone and crystal. There's a lot that I do, but there's a lot that I don't. But that doesn't mean that they're not supporting me or working with me. I'll look at my notes here. I want to make sure I covered some of these. One of the there's a debate always online about this, which I think is really funny. There's a product called selenite, which is really what we call gypsum. And gypsum has many forms. It can be called satin spar or selenite or different words. but that product is ground up and used in the drywall of our homes, whether you know it or not. And so, even though it's not 100% just gypsum, it does have some other fillers and products used to make that. But people talk about clearing negative energy in their home, and I'm thinking, like, well, we've got drywall everywhere. Why isn't our home all clear all the time? But we're not necessarily engaging with 100% selenite.
I had no
But
idea.
yeah, but we do. We have selenite in our walls in drywall. So that to me, that was one of the best ones. I was like, wow, I had no idea. I had no idea myself. And the other thing is, um, I think it was a couple of years ago, I did a post and I was talking about people that were not into stones and crystals. And I was kind of doing a little bit of what you call controlled controversy. So I basically said, for all of you non-believers that don't believe in stones and crystals, and you say you're not a crystal collector, I just went, well, if you have a diamond on your finger, you're into stones and crystals, whether you know it or not. And diamonds represent relationship, connection, strong bonds, commitment. So, and it was great because a lot of people were like, I'm not into that. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in these things. I'm like, well, then why do you have a diamond on your hand? So when we look at the history of this, the Egyptians were into copper, they were into adorning their bodies. Um, Other cultures were into all kinds of different rubies, emeralds. They adorned, even in India at one point, people use real gems. Um, so they've been around for millions of years, and as long as people have been around, people have been adorning their bodies with them. And so, what do we do when the pandemic comes? It just wakes everybody up. So, everybody wants stones and crystals. So, if we go back a little bit and talk about it, crystals are formed. I'm just going to give you the really like 2 sentence history of the formation. They were formed many ways. They were either formed by volcanic eruptions, which we had intense heat, or they were formed by tremendous pressure in the earth. It could be gas and water. There's a lot of things, but think about all that. All that is minerals. And that was the minerals of the earth. And then if I go a little deeper and say, well, we had the Big Bang, we had the earth, and a lot of our earth minerals are cosmic. And then we think about cosmic, and then we think, well, do we really have past lives? And did a lot of those minerals from the cosmos, is that in our earth? And that's why we're attracted to these. So I think there's many layers of why we do want to connect with them and we do want to use them. And I do believe that they are powerful and that they can be used in rituals and setting intentions. And I talk to people every day who come into my shop and say, I use this crystal based on the way you suggested I use it. And guess what? It worked. So I get a lot of feedback from people that give me results. And I'm happy to know that because at least I'm getting facts from people. Especially, we have this one stone and we use it a lot for people who have court cases. And they'll actually come back and tell us, I was shocked. My case got dismissed, or it came out better than I thought, or I didn't have to go to court. And I'm like, it was that crystal. So, I know that they do work. So if we really go back and, I'm just going to kind of give you a basic overview of how crystals and where they can resonate with us, is they can resonate with our chakras. And we have our 7 chakras, and there's 7 specific stones, or actually, there's more than 7 because you could alternate different stones with your chakras. But typically, we suggest to individuals that if you're a beginner, start with your chakras and you can start with the 7 stones that address your chakras, or you could start with what we also give a suggestion of 5 stones. And with each of the chakras, and I'll just quickly kind of give you an idea of what kind of stones resonate. For your root chakra, we usually recommend a black or a red stone. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of red stones in the crystal world. Ruby is probably the most beautiful and the most red, but we rarely, when you get ruby in tumbled form, it's very dark maroon. It's not red at all. The red crystalline rubies are reserved for the jewelry industry so that they can be cut, faceted, and put in the jewelry. And they're in that form, in that crystal, beautiful red form, they're very expensive. So a lot of people come in and go, I'm looking for ruby. And then when they see the ruby that we show them, they're like, well, that's not what I was thinking. And I'm like, well, we don't get the bright red stones. They just don't make them in a tumbled format. If they did, yeah, probably maybe $500 to $1,000 for one stone. So that's one stone. So we suggest black stones as well for root because root also is where you hold a lot of your fears. And tourmaline is all about protection. Then you've got your sacral chakra, which the color for that is orange. And that's usually like an orange calcite or carnelian. And orange calcite is a great stone for moving emotions, moving things forward. And then carnelian is also a stone of creativity, but it is a stone of moving forward. And then your solar plexus in your like in your just your stomach area, we suggest citrine. And citrine is an attraction stone, so it attracts good energy in. And solar plexus also is where we hold a lot of energy, mother father energy in our solar plexus. So we like to attract good energy around family. Then your heart chakra, we recommend pink or green, and that could be rose quartz, it could be aventurine, it could be emerald. So, and those are stones that are very much love stones, heart stones. They bring good energy into your body. Then we have the throat, which is usually light blue, and we suggest sodalite for that. And that helps you open your communication, speak your truth, use your voice. Um, Many people, when I suggest sodalite to, if they're working on something, they always smile and say, "Wow, I've been working on, standing my ground, setting boundaries, speaking my truth." And sodalite can help people do that. As you move to third eye, that's dark blue, and that's usually lapis lazuli. And it can also be sodalite, but the dark blue, and lapis is the stone of universal truth. So that does, and our universal truth from our third eye does resonate outwards. And that's where we bring in a lot of our true soul, our true body. And then you have your crown, and that's usually white or purple. And that's where you could have amethyst and or clear quartz. Clear quartz is a stone that magnifies the energy of all stones. And then amethyst is kind of an all-purpose stone. It's a stone where it's love, peace, purpose, protection, serenity. It's kind of a little bit of everything. Of course, purple is a very royal color, very grand color. So that's where most people start is if they don't know what they're working on or they don't know what they want to do, if they come in and say, I'm just starting my spiritual awakening, we suggest start with your chakras. It's easy. You don't have to have a lot of stones to begin. So I would say that a lot of people, why am I attracted? How did I get attracted to stones and crystals? And of course, I usually ask them. And some people say, well, when I was a kid, I loved to collect stones, or I was always picking things up. Some people say that they feel an energy from them. And then some people say that they really don't know why. They have this unknown feeling. Like they go in somewhere and they feel a stone or they're attracted to a color, or they were somewhere where someone had stones and they felt something from it. And then that has kind of led them to learn more about themselves. Um, some people said that the stones actually talked to them, that they felt like that stone spoke to them and said, "Hey, pick me, pick me." And that does happen. Yeah, Susie, maybe you've experienced that, where a stone just jumps out and says, "Pick me, pick me." I have that happen a
Remember the
lot.
other day on the trail night line I was telling you about when I was walking on the trail and I picked up that stone and I was taking it back
Uh-huh.
to the coach and I'm like, you know what? That's not mine. That belongs back out in the forest. And I went back and placed it back up in the forest. Yeah. It looked kind of like a heart and it was just, anyway, but
That's
So you
cool.
gave it back to the earth. That's great. Yeah, that's great. Um, and a lot of times the reason you're attracted is because there's something that you're working on to be healed. There's a mineral maybe that you need, you just don't know that yet. Or it's resonating at a cellular level. And, you might be thinking about, wow, I really need to work on my relationships. And then you walk into a crystal place, and the first thing you're drawn to is a pink stone, but you have no idea what it means. And you learn later that rose quartz is the stone of love, and it's all love. It's really relationship, but it's romantic love, it's family love, it's coworker love, friend love. It's a little bit of everything. So people are amazed when they come in and they pick a stone, and we have cards that give the description of the stone, and then they read that card and they go, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm working on, or this is my problem, or this was my challenge." And they start to connect. So, stones and crystals are just such a great introduction. And a lot of people think, I find it amazing. I don't know about, those of you on here tonight, but I find it amazing that there are people who come in who are still pretty much in on the side of religion, but they're sort of stepping out and they really are drawn to stones and crystals. That's kind of their first introduction. And then they're like scared. Like, I want to take these home, but I'm afraid that my family is going to tell me I'm doing something weird. So it's very interesting that they have that strong pull. And I usually suggest, well, if it's that strong, it must be divine. It must be coming from somewhere. And it's just allowing you to step out and be a little more open-minded. So yeah, I do find many people have trouble thinking about stones and crystals as a tool, just like any other tool that any other religion has, um, that's going to help them open up, and it can.
Well, let me
So, oh yeah.
interject in with that comment because
Hmm.
here in the Awareness Academy, I use A Course in Miracles as the foundational teachings, and
Hmm.
the course is very clear, very consistent that there is no world out there that just showed
Hmm.
up without our creating it. We are the creators of the world that we experience.
Hmm.
So ultimately, all of the power is within. However, what is also clear is that because for thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of years, we have been creating as consciousness this world that we experience. Everything that is out there is directly a reflection of us. So I love what
Hmm.
you were saying about these crystals when they're speaking to us. It's because everything is pointing back here. And if we can,
Hmm.
instead of utilizing religion, and I
Hmm.
speaking from my own personal experience, I grew up Catholic in the Dominican Republic, and
Hmm.
the Dominican Republic shares an island with Haiti. And on the Haiti side, it was all about voodoo and very um the kinds of things that Catholic people were not into. However, one of the things that I remember hearing some of the Haitians that we were familiar with and that were, family friends, is they really believed in stones and crystals. But of course,
Yeah.
on the Catholic side, we were like, oh no, not at all. So for a part of my life, I was there till I was 14. I was influenced with this idea that the earth, the stones, the crystals did have some power, but I didn't tap into that until I started my journey, my spiritual journey in my 40s.
Mhm.
So what you're saying now is like helping me kind of connect those dots that I was exposed to that knowledge,
Mhm.
but not until I was on this journey did I give myself permission to even begin to play with crystals. And you're absolutely right. When I would walk into a store that had crystals in it, I was always drawn to something specific. And
Yeah.
I would just cry like a baby. I would bawl like a baby when I would hold it in my hand and I, brought it home and I sat with it and all of a sudden it's like stuff was coming up. So I
Mhm.
love that you're connecting the dots in that there is a connection. And if we would be open to explore it, it's just another tool, like you said.
That's true. And and on the Dominican Republic is Larimar. And
Larimar.
that's the only mine in the world. That's the only place you can get Larimar. And now the mine, they've kind of closed that mine to the large American vendors where they only are allowing, uh, I guess, people who are citizens of the Dominican Republic are the only ones that can actually bring that into the States now or even sell because they're running low. There are some mines that do get closed because they get to a certain point and they choose not to strip the mine completely. So they choose to close the mine and no longer bring it out to the public.
Well,
And Larimar is a beautiful stone.
I used to have a lot of Larimar jewelry when
Mhm.
I was younger, and over the years, I've kind of have given them away or lost them
Mhm.
or whatever. What is the specific power in Larimar? What is the essence of that stone?
So when it was discovered, I think it was a geologist that discovered it. He was down there doing some work. When he found it, it looks like the ocean. I mean, it's beautiful blue and has white and it's very flowing. He called it Larimar after his daughter, whose name was Laura.
Mm.
And so when he called it Larimar, he gave it the feeling of that it is the ocean, that it is a stone that allows you to go with the flow, to be connected to all things of the universe, and that it kind of brings you back to your beginning because it did represent the ocean, which is where many things have evolved. And that so it's known as a stone that opens up your senses. It allows you to be able to flow through life, and it helps you open up emotionally. And then it was also considered a stone that would impact a lot of people to move forward spiritually, that they would feel this spiritual connection with the grand ocean because you were on an island.
Mm.
So,
Well,
yeah.
then maybe Larimar has been influencing my life and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
That's
It,
what I
it
was
was
thinking too, all along. That essence has been all around you, guiding you, yeah, to guide us.
Yeah, I still have, I mean, I do have some earrings, and I haven't worn them in a long time. This reminds me, I'm gonna have to pull them out.
Yeah, you should, because maybe they've had a message for you all along, and now you're ready to take in those messages.
Totally.
So,
I will definitely get my earrings out.
yeah,
And
like I said, sometimes stones choose you, and you don't know it.
interesting.
So,
Yeah, these earrings I bought on my last trip, which has been over 10 years, my last trip to the Dominican. So
mhm,
but speak a little bit to how can we use stone that has a message for us? When I left Georgia, I had several parties. One of them was at your shop, and I gave away a lot of my jewelry, my stones. I was
mhm.
my load. I did keep a few, but what would you suggest is the best way for us maybe to start with what we might have at home? So if anybody that is watching this has some
Mhm.
stones at home that maybe they didn't realize have that level of connection to them, like you have just
Hmm.
shared with us, and all of a sudden they want to, let's say, for example, like I've got this crystal that I've had quite a while,
Hmm.
and they hold it. What would you recommend would be the way for them to begin to connect with what they already have before they go out and maybe feel led to certain other crystals, whether it's on your online shop or in an actual store? But let's start with what we have at home. What would you recommend would be the
Well,
process to connect?
yeah, well, the first thing that we suggest to all customers when they buy stones is to clear them. And so, no matter what stone you have, clear them with, you can clear them with selenite, you can clear them with sage, you can use incense, you can even use a spray. But you want to just, and even if you don't have any of that, you can just hold that stone and you can say, I'm clearing you right now. And I like to suggest that a stone is going to be there to support you in a particular goal or intention that you might have. And the intention could be anything. It could be you want to improve your finances. You want to perhaps attract a relationship or break up a relationship, or you want to improve your health or have something that vibrates to in your health in some way. You might even want to feel protected. So some of the basic stones that I think most people have that they migrate to, and we usually recommend, are usually almost everybody has a clear quartz at some point. And a clear quartz, as I said earlier, magnifies the energy of any stone you have in your house. So let's say that whatever stones you have, and again, I want to emphasize this, there's no right or wrong in what you do. We can make suggestions, but if you feel led to treat a stone a certain way, then you're being led to do that. But typically we say clear your stone, whatever it is, set your intention, whatever that intention is. Let's say the intention is, I'd like to attract more money. So put that stone in your palm, speak that intention, and then you blow. You put your breath of the intention in the stone. And I guarantee you the stone will receive it. And you can do that with every stone you have. So any stone that you have in your home, first and foremost, you can take that stone and you can say, I am using you to set this intention in my life. And here's the goal that I have, or here's the intention that I have. And then you either write it down or you then program that stone. And what I suggest, sit that stone on the piece of paper that you wrote your intention.
Mm.
So that's one way that you can use stones and crystals. You can take whatever you have in your house. It could be, you could even have river rocks. River rocks are stones, and they do have an energy. They have the energy of the water that the river was flowing over them. You can take gravel from outside. A lot of people like to make a circular, like a round circle with stones that they have. You put another stone in the center, which is called your center or your power. And you can set an intention with that. And what you're doing is you're now magnifying the energy of all those stones and crystals out into your home based on what your intention is. So you can use your stones and crystals for things like that. A lot of people use the descriptions of stones and crystals could be that it helps with digestion, or it could help with blood flow, or it could help with headaches. I mean, there as you get deeper into this, and you can definitely look it up on the internet, but if you look a stone up, it'll tell you what the spiritual properties are. And then you can also say, especially with AI now, you can say, well, what health benefits could it support? Or what's commonly known for this stone to help me with? And again, I always suggest that you hold that stone or crystal in your hand and you either sit in stillness or meditate, whatever that intention is, and you can do that on a regular basis. Now, protection stones are usually your black stones. So that would be tourmaline, obsidian, you've got shungite, you've got merlinite. You have most of your black stones are protection. So I suggest to people with those stones, put them somewhere near a door or over your door ledge up on the top of your door. And you can keep those there. And so they're helping to clear negative energy as people come in and out of your house. But again, there's basics of stones and crystals, but like you said, Lina, there's something always within us. And we may, I might say, oh, lapis lazuli is a stone of universal truth. That's kind of what the description is. But if you hold that and you say, oh no, I think this stone is helping me with my blood flow, that's what I'm feeling, then it's true because it's however you connect with that product. And the beauty of them is that there is an energy in them, and it's been proven. I mean, like I said, crystals actually run machines, and they can also energize your body. Copper's a great one, like copper bracelets. Copper it conducts energy, so it's going to conduct energy on you. So the most common stones, and actually I was just getting ready to go there. The most common stones that most people start with is it's clear quartz, it's selenite, it's let me get to the list here. Selenite, tourmaline, rose quartz, and aventurine. And that addresses every area of your life. So tourmaline is protection, selenite is clearing, rose quartz is love, clear quartz magnifies the energy. It also helps you think clearly and stay focused. And then aventurine is your money stone. It's a good luck stone. It attracts good energy and good luck. The Chinese call it their number one good luck stone.
Hmm.
And you can also wear them. You can have crystal bracelets, you can have pendants, you can have earrings. There you go. You can wear them and then you're getting the energy of that. You can switch your crystals out based on how you feel. Some people take, whatever crystals they've collected, and I always suggest put them on your nightstand at night. Move them around though. Move them around your house. And again, may sound weird, but I talk to my stones and crystals all the time. Like I'm going to go, okay, today we're going to go over here. I'm feeling you tonight. You're going on my nightstand. So it's kind of fun to do that. And think of this as, again, as your sort of your guardian. And that again, don't become obsessed with it, but think of these as support for your spiritual evolution.
I remember at some point, I don't remember it was your shop or where I found it, but I remember getting some stones. They were small ones. I still have
Uh-huh.
one of them, and it was in the shape of a heart, and it was this rose quartz, tiny little rose quartz. And
Uh-huh.
I the person who was helping me, or maybe I read something, suggested that maybe I sleep with it. So I put it in
Mm-hmm.
my uh oh goodness, the pillowcase.
Yeah. Your pillowcase. Uh-huh.
At the very, and because it was so little, it dropped down to the very back. But I would sleep with this. And I remember it was at a
Mm-hmm.
time when I was having a hard time sleeping. And I started to sleep so well. And like you said,
Mm-hmm.
part of it was the intention. I wanted to sleep well. And
Yeah.
having the ability to put that stone in there, it felt very empowering. Like I was doing something that was so loving for myself, even though I had just learned that I could do that. I mean, it's so fascinating how I needed to go to somebody, or maybe, like I said, I don't remember, it's been so long, but read it on a card maybe. It's like it gave me
Yeah.
permission to have a good night's sleep, but it actually worked. It was something that I felt connected to. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's been suggested a lot by a lot of energy workers for people to use their stones in different scenarios. Some people, when they do a spiritual bath, they will place stones around their tub and light a candle do a spiritual bath, and they are feeling the energy of those stones, and they're working through perhaps transformation. They're ready to clear themselves of anything that they don't want to carry anymore in their energy fields. So you can pretty much use them, and you can even use them in the kitchen. I mean, you can put them in your kitchen for certain things, even, and then of course you get into herbs and so forth in cooking, but stones and crystals can bring good energy into your kitchen because most families, where do we gather? In the kitchen a lot. And
Mm.
so you've got good energy in your kitchen as well.
Mm.
Now, a lot of people have asked what happens if a stone breaks?
Oh,
Like, what if you're just wearing one, all of a sudden just kaboom, it just pops, or you drop one and it just, you know, goes into pieces. A lot of people get scared, like, oh my gosh, this is really bad energy. Not necessarily. What it means is that that stone was absorbing energy on your behalf, and it may have it finally absorbed much more than you think. And then it just, because when stones and crystals absorb energy, they actually get hot, believe it or not. And so it may have just said kaboom. I needed to explode. And that's a good thing. So, what I suggest for most people is there's a couple of things you can do. You can take any stone or crystal that's shattered or that's in multiple pieces. You could put them in a bowl because sometimes, I mean, I've broken a lot of crystals and had crystals just like a pendant just drop off. And I'm like, huh. So, some of those, I just keep them in a bowl together. And a lot of times I go bury the broken pieces in my yard. I give them back to the earth
mm.
because I'm like honoring the earth, saying thank you for serving me and for absorbing the energy that obviously I didn't have to absorb. And so I'm going to give you back to the earth so that you can bring energy to the earth. And you can kind of do a little ritual with that if you want to, and be thankful and just dig a little hole and put them in the ground somewhere. Or, like I said, you can put them in a bowl and then you can just talk to them every now and then. Also, too, if you think about it, a lot of people say, oh, you can't put certain crystals together. Well, I find that interesting because they're standing in my shop where I have over 500 different varieties of crystals. And I go, I don't think so. And then they're like, oh,
Mine are
oh.
all in a bowl.
Yes, and that is what I suggest. I mean, I have bowls everywhere with all kinds of stones in them, and I love bringing them. They're like family. Actually, they love being together. And I always know that when you have stones and crystals from different parts of the world, and then you put them together, they're like really happy. It's like going to France and saying, "Oh, it's nice to meet you." And then you just put them all together, and then they're very happy and their energy works well together. So when people tell others, oh, don't put these two stones together, they'll create jealousy or they'll create this, that individual is coming somewhere within them, uh, uh, whatever negativity, but they're not perhaps honoring the energy of the crystals, that the crystals know better. They're not going to create controversy. So
Mm.
they do know better. Now, there are certain ways to clear and clean and charge. So, to clean, I would say most clear crystals that are quartz based, that are like almost like a jewelry stone, you can wash them underwater. However, it's not good to put them in the sun because, like, let's say amethyst, rose quartz, citrine, smoky quartz, those are stones that in the sunlight in bright sunlight all the time, they'll ultimately fade and lose their color. Now, it does take a while, but if you want to put them somewhere where they're not in the sun all the time. Things like tourmaline, selenite, kyanite, anything that's kind of crumbly, you don't want to put in water. And one of the ways to clean your stones and crystals, or even if you have clusters, is hair dryer. It'll blow all the dust off of it. So that's one of the best ways if you can't put them underwater. And then charging them, a lot of people charge their stones under the moonlight. And you don't have to have direct moonlight in order to charge them. You just put them out on a full moon because the moon is still bright above the clouds and you're still getting that energy. But I know one woman came in and said, I live in an apartment and I just can't put them out anywhere because someone will steal them. And then she gave me an idea. She said, but what I did, I put them in a Ziploc bag and I put them on my dashboard in my car and I parked my car so that the moonlight was, that there were no trees and they were getting charged. And then you can also, if the ones that you can put in water, like your more crystal hard stones, you can always wash them in the ocean too, which really is kind of nicely like a ritual and clear them with the salt water. But then afterwards, you want to rinse them in fresh water afterwards. So that's one of the ways that you can take care of them. But I love the hair dryer because I have a lot of clusters, and some of those clusters have other, like I have um, an apophyllite, which is beautiful, but it has a little pink calcite in it. And so I don't want to get the calcite wet, so I can't rinse it. So I just use the hair dryer and blow all the dust off of it all the time. And that's what keeps it clean. So you
Well,
can do that as well.
those are great ideas. I'll tonight I'm going to put mine out, or not tonight. I don't know. We don't have a full moon right now, but I'm going to put them on my porch and I'll let them sit out there and get a moon
Mhm.
bath. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have the crescent moon, so you can still do that. You can still put it out under the moon at any time. The full moon is just, it's a full moon. So, and then, and let's see, there's a couple other things I wanted to be able to talk about that just gives you, sort of, ideas and how to work with these. Like I said earlier, stones don't cancel each other out. So you can keep them, like I said, in bowls. You can also make grids with them. And you don't necessarily have to have a grid of, like, sometimes there's wooden grids with sacred geometry on it. Those are great to have, but you can just make a circle on your tablecloth. And just always make sure you have a center stone. Oh, and then the other point is you want to activate that grid. And all you do is you just take another stone, you hold it, you just look at your grid and you go, okay, this is 12 o'clock, this is 6 o'clock. So at the 12 o'clock spot on your circle, you just say, I activate this grid. And then you just draw that stone around the circle to the top, and it's activated. That's all you have to do. And of course, you want to have set an intention for that grid. And
And
then just
what does the activation do?
the activation actually brings all the stones and crystals working together, and their energy goes inward to the center stone, and the center stone brings the energy out, up, and out. And it just gives you bigger energy fields. And then you leave that up as long as you want or until you feel like you've achieved that goal. And if you've achieved that goal, then you deactivate the grid. You go in the opposite direction. You say, I deactivate this grid. And then you take it all apart, put them back in a bowl, or create another grid.
Mm.
And I love grids. Grids are powerful.
So you
So,
said,
Go ahead, Susie.
so am I hearing you correctly? Like, say, if I wanted to create a grid like here, and I've got like, where I live in a motor coach. If I and
Yes.
like where I do my yoga and I do my exercising, could I create a grid on that space and say, so therefore that would kind of give the energy of healing, like say for my health, for my
yeah,
body. And so do that there and then create, so that would create the whole energy for this whole small space in here as okay. Okay.
yes, yes. And that would be great because now you're combining, you've got an intention, you're putting in a space where you're actually taking action. And
Yeah.
then you've got the energy of the grid.
Okay.
Yeah, that could work very well for you.
Thank you.
Um, let's see. Let me look at, I think I had one other thing. I just wanted to make sure I covered everything. We talked about clearing. And the other thing that I love to do is an easy way to clear your stones and or your jewelry If you have a Tibetan bowl, you can put them in the bowl and play the bowl, and the vibrations immediately clears them. And of course, you can put them in the industry has selenite bowls. So a lot of people buy a selenite bowl and they just drop all their jewelry in it at night and it clears it. But again, you can just use a small piece of tumbled selenite stone placed next to them, just keeps them clearing all the time. And I recommend everybody just have one piece of selenite in your house, and any stone that's in your house is going to be cleared with that selenite.
What does selenite look like? Maybe I have one already.
It's looks kind of like chalky. It's white and it's kind of chalky looking.
Like that?
Uh, no, that's opaque. It's a little more. I'm just trying to think what I can see if I have a piece. Hold
And
on.
this
Oh, I
is
have a piece. I know.
the other
No,
white.
that's not it either. That looks like calcite, Caribbean calcite. Yeah, I
Is
think that's Caribbean. Hold on, I think I have a big wand. Let me unplug myself for a minute.
Dondra, thanks for joining us. And when Sharron comes back, if you guys have some questions, by all means, we'll make sure that we have time for you guys to be able to do that. And Susie, what stone is it that you have there?
Okay. Okay. This is selenite. You,
Oh, okay. I don't have that.
and this is like a large, we call this, let's see, do you have one, Susie? Yeah, that's a satin spar. So it's selenite, but it's been polished. And then like this is an athame. It's a knife made of selenite, and you can tell it's polished, but it is not. It definitely is transparent looking. Yes, it's going to be transparent looking.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And it's great for clearing. A lot of massage therapists take these bars and they tape them under their massage bed so that when they're working on their client, they're clearing their energy at the same time. So, or they just run it over the client when they're working with them. So it works on humans really well. If I feel like sometimes we may have people in the shop that are maybe just really negative. And then when they leave, we're clearing ourselves with our wands. So that's rare, but it does happen. You get someone in. So we do that a lot. But yeah, that's definitely how you clear.
Well, Sharon,
Uh,
I'm asking Susie and Dondra if they've got any questions or anything. By all means, please unmute yourself and pose those questions because I'm just so excited to have you come and join us and share your expertise. Because while we're on this journey to move to the place where we have ascended and can be in a place that we don't have to incarnate anymore. Uh,
mhm,
we're still in this world, we're still in this dimension where utilizing all the tools that will assist us and support us. And of course, if everything is one, everything is here in service. If we decide
mhm,
that way, as much as it can be here detrimentally,
mhm.
if we're unconscious of how powerful we are and what's the connection that we have. Um, Susie, did you have something you wanted to say? Oh, you're muted. You're muted, sweetie.
Oh,
My granddaughter made this for me. And is that the
oh.
crystal? Is that the white crystal you're talking about?
That's clear quartz. That looks like clear quartz to me because it has a point on the end.
Yeah, she made this necklace for me.
Yeah, and that has clear quartz beads in it, and that's a clear quartz point. Actually, that's really nice.
Yeah,
Very
she did.
nice.
She told me what all it meant, and I couldn't remember all of it. But it's got some little other the beads. It has the color that has like a unique little sparkle thing in it. I don't know. It's
Uh-huh.
cool.
Uh-huh. Very, very nice.
Put a
Yeah.
lot of little things on there, so I bet you she knew what all they were. It
Oh
means
yeah.
it means I just want to say, Sharon, thank you. It means so much more to me now. I mean, it meant something that she gave it to me, but now that I understand what it means, you know.
Yeah, and think about this too. As she worked on that, her energy is in that. So she kind of is transferring her energy to you as well. And then with the quartz, it's magnifying all the other beads that she has in there. And then when you put that on, it's kind of like a protection halo in a way.
Okay.
So she's giving you good energy.
Okay. Yeah, she's got
Yeah.
good energy. Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
definitely made with love. So it has that energy to begin with. So that is so, so sweet.
hmm Yeah. Any other thoughts or questions?
What is tourmaline?
Tourmaline is a black stone. It looks like coal. It's kind of crumbly, and it can be polished. It takes a lot of work on it, which is it's a protection stone. It's mainly known for protection, and lots of people carry tourmaline with their other stones. Or if they feel like they have negative people around them, they'll put tourmaline in their house over their door frames, those kind of things. And it does help with protection. Um, and it's a powerful stone. It can be a very powerful stone.
Mm.
You know, something else that I didn't think anything about it, but the people who were first did the landscaping in my yard here,
Uh-huh.
they uh they saved all the rocks and they made a big huge circle out here at the for entry of my thing. And
Uh-huh.
well, how precious, you know, and it just was so tender to my soul last year before I even got up here to do anything. I just saw that they were doing that. And it was like three guys that worked for this one guy, and the young men were doing it, you know. And so then, but I noticed there was one stone in the middle, and I almost picked it up to place it somewhere else until you said that that one stone would be in the middle that would, you know. So it was just now I've been thinking about what I'm gonna, you know, plant in there, and I had no idea how much more it meant rather than just being a flower
hmm
bed. To me, it was a flower bed till I talked with you, and now all that energy of how they place every, I mean, because it's about 2 feet high all the way around.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's about 20 feet long by 10 feet wide. That they've taken all the rocks that they collected off of this property and stacked them on top of each other. And so now it just means so much more to me that I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for that. That's pretty cool.
Can can you go sit? Can you actually sit in the middle of that?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. That is to me, that is a circle of power. And
Okay.
they were obviously guided to do that. And whether they were told, go put those rocks there, they were guided to do that. But that center stone is your center power stone.
Okay.
So that's almost like in a way, like a sacred area. And I would suspect if you went out there and took a chair even or sat on the ground, you would feel a lot of power and energy from those stones.
Okay.
That could be a great little meditation spot or just sitting in stillness for you.
That's why it keeps calling to me every time I walk over there. The girls go out to do, you know, yeah. It keeps calling. I keep looking at it like what I'm going to plant there. But now I see what you're saying. It's not about what I'm going to plant there. It's what is already there.
Mm.
Yes. And you could plant around it if you chose to, because that would be even more beautiful because it would bring the plants and the stones together if you planted around. But yeah, that feels very sacred to me.
So what would
You
I do with the inside of it? Where all it's got limbs
is
and different things in it. So should I clean those out or?
I would clear all that out. I would clear it out. Now, what could be fun maybe is to do some, of course, I don't know how hard this would be, but you could plant some plants in there, but I would kind of plant them almost like north, south, east, west. I'd kind of keep sort of a design within that circle
Right.
and keep your center stone in the center. But yeah, I think that would be, to me, that feels like a very sacred spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one thing I was going to say that I didn't address tonight, and I have a little different feeling. a lot of times online and even other people, they will tell people, oh, get your stones, put them in water and you get the energy of the stones from the water. But most people don't realize stones are treated. All the tumbled stones that we carry were originally raw and they were sent to a processing place and they were tumbled and there were very toxic chemicals put in. And I say toxic, it's like a coating because most stones need to be stabilized. In fact, like turquoise, if turquoise is not stabilized with a coating, it'll eventually become powder because it's very, very chalky. So I tell everyone, I am not a fan of putting your tumbled stones and crystals in water because you don't know how they processed and you don't know what might leach into that water, and especially malachite. Now, malachite, people say, oh, it's poisonous, don't wear it. Well, it's not really true. It's poisonous if you put it in water and you drink that water because malachite has copper in it. And so I am not an advocate of soaking stones in water. Now there are these bottles of water that have a bottom to them that is separate from the water, and you can put stones in them. I recommend that because you can get the energy of the stones. But I never recommend putting tumbled stones in water to drink because you just don't know how they've been processed. Um, it's, and a lot of people don't do their research and they don't think about this. Because I had someone come in the other day and said, oh, I need to get shungite because I'm going to make shungite water. And I said, well, first of all, you need to do it with what we call elite shungite, which is raw and it needs to be thoroughly cleaned before you even use it. And you can use that. That's about the only one. Charcoal is another one, but again, you're pouring water through that. So that's the thing I'm an advocate for not making crystal water unless the crystals are separate from the water.
Thanks
Okay.
for saying that because I remember when I was in Atlanta, a lot of my friends would put stones in their water. Now I don't know that they understood what they were doing in terms of,
Hmm.
you just said, a process of cleaning them, but I never quite did that. But that's
Hmm.
interesting. Okay. And
Yeah.
speaking of water, what stone would you recommend to be placed next to or around like for example, I distill my water, so I have a big 2 gallon container that I put
Hmm.
my distilled water into. So what stone would you recommend to place around water that just activates the water, the healing power of water even more?
Hmm. Oh, there's a couple of stones that I like for that. Well, I love clear quartz, but rose quartz is my favorite because rose quartz is infusing what I call universal cosmic love. It's the energy of love, and that's what we need more of right now. So it
Mhm.
would either be rose quartz or clear quartz or amethyst, any
Okay.
one of those three.
Okay.
Hmm.
Love that. Well, Sharon, what would you want to leave us as your closing words, as your suggestions? The main thing that I took away from what you shared was the power of intention when we're
Hmm.
working with stones, and whether we're setting them up as an altar, a circle,
Hmm.
in any shape or form, or if we are connecting with it, everything, it just seems to me to keep coming back to our intention. Um, but what closing words would you like to leave us with that can tie intention to anything that you want to share?
Yeah, I think that it is for people who really feel connected, is that they can be used in so many ways, and they can even be used in rituals if you want, if people want to engage in a ritual or even the word spell. A lot of people don't like that term, but because really the word spell, just like witch, is negative, but it really isn't negative. But the stones and crystals play an important role in helping you move forward because they are supporting you. And if you allow yourself to be open to them and believe in them, you can accomplish a lot. I mean, I've done a lot of manifestation intentions with adventuring, and I can honestly say that within weeks, something financially really good would happen. And I attributed that directly to setting my intention and then taking action. And just in general in life, if we're working towards something, why not use every tool that you can? And I find that stones and crystals are my best tools to work with. And carry them on your body if you want, put them in your purse, wear them in jewelry, put them in your nightstand, put them in your home. It's wherever you feel that you need that energy. And then allow it to happen.
Yeah, that's an important one. Allow.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your online shop because you're going to be opening this up, you said in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, in
And
a few weeks.
okay.
Um, and interestingly enough, we're not going to have a lot of stones and crystals, mainly because we have a lot of products in our shop, and we can't compete with just stones and crystals online shops because that's all they do. We do much more. So we're going to roll it out with all of our intention kits. So we have a lot of intention kits. And we have some bundles, we have kits, but we have kits that are like attracting love, attracting money, ancestry kits, and a full moon celebration. And they're kits that have stones, crystals, herbs, candles, and then you have instructions of exactly how to use them. So we're rolling out that. We probably have about 25 different kits with themes. We also have our own line of sprays, intention sprays and intention oils. And then we have oils for chakras and for deities. We'll also have, we will have stones and crystals, but a lot of these will be more the larger size. We're just not going to carry tumbled right now because we can't compete with the market. Like online stone and crystal shops, they go and buy $100,000 worth of stones and crystals, and then they have them in a warehouse, and that's all they do. We do so much more in other products. So we will have, but like we'll have sage, we'll have incense, we'll have candles. So we'll have a variety of everything, Tibetan bowls, all kinds of things. And you can go to our site. Like I said, we're going to do a launch. We'll send out an email when everything is ready to go, when people can actually go online and then announce that our shop is now open. So, and that's what I was going to say tonight. Like if you want to leave your email with me, we'll put you on our list so that when our site rolls out, you'll get an email that says, hey, our site is now open and here's what you do. And then in addition to that, I was going to say tonight, I want to send to each of you. I have an ebook of what we talked about tonight, and so I'll send you an ebook that has all this information that we talked about tonight
Oh,
as well.
well, ladies, just if you give me your email out, well, I have your email addresses. If it's okay with you, I'll send them over. Oh, well, there.
Yeah,
Susie put it in there. If you want to.
yeah, okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll write that down real quick. GQFOR.
Uh-huh.
And what FOR what? FOR
69.
69.
669, and then that's at Gmail.
Yep.
Okay, great. All
And
right. And
Sharron,
then Lina, I'll send you a copy as well. And if there's anybody that wants one, you can forward it.
totally, totally. So will we be
Oh,
able
dear.
to, oh, there's Dondra's.
Hey,
Perfect.
Dondra.
Okay, Haney.
Queen
Okay.
sister.
Thanks for showing
At
your
AOL. Oh, okay. All right, great. Yeah, I will. I'll send you both the ebook
And Sharon,
and mhm.
because I'll post the link to the website,
Mhm.
heartsoulandart.com inside of the
Mhm.
academy, will people be able to reach the online platform of your store through that site?
Yeah, in fact, our site now is actually a Shopify site. So our website is now being has been built in Shopify. So when you go to our website now, you'll see, like I said, I'm not sure if they finished everything. There may be some products up there, but I know they're working on getting them all published. But when you go to the site, you'll also see things about our shop because we do have workshops, we have practitioners, we do readings. And then we'll have our online shop as well. So, yes.
So exciting. It's just so fun to see
Mhm.
you go from this was just an idea to boom, one day it's open. And then I saw you add more space and now you're going virtual. So very, very exciting. And I am, again, sister, I am so grateful that you would take the time to share this with our
Thank you so
community.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
And folks
Yeah.
who come tonight, they'll be able to watch the video. So we'll keep sharing the name of your store and let them see what you have to offer. Um, so grateful. Thank you,
What a
ladies,
blessing.
for joining
Thank you.
us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. And it's always fun. You know me, I love to just share knowledge wherever I can.
You do, and you have so much knowledge to share. So thank you so much for that. And of course, we'll be in touch
All
Thank
always.
you for
right.
the blessing. Thank you for the blessing, Sharon.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Nice to see you, Dondra. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye
Good
bye.
night. Bye bye.